Pope Francis achieved a years-long mission today when he arrived in the war-torn country of South Sudan. It is the second and final leg of his trip to Africa. Before departing for South Sudan's capital city, the Holy Father met church leaders from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Meantime, on the eve of his visit to South Sudan, a horrific terrorist attack there where 27 people were killed. The Pope will spend 3 days in the war-torn country. He is calling it, quote, a pilgrimage for peace. He will be joined by leaders from the Anglican Church and the Church of Scotland. Joining us now from Rome is Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Andreas, great to see you. What more can you tell us about the meaning of Pope Francis's apostolic trip?
In these days, Pope Francis is really a pontifex, which is Latin and means a bridge builder. Because this is exactly what we've witnessed over the last days of him in Africa. In South Sudan, the Holy Father will meet over the coming days and hold a joint ecumenical prayer with Archbishop Justin Welby of the Anglican Church and Reverend Ian Greenshields, who is the moderator of the Church of Scotland. All three faiths are really growing fast in South Sudan and could be instrumental in bringing about peace in this war-torn country. Cardinal Koch, who is the head of the dicastery for the promotion of Christian unity, pointed out to us that it's a very sad tragedy in South Sudan and in the Democratic Republic of Congo where Christians are killing Christians.
Andre, is curious, how did Pope Francis approach this topic, and what was his message to the millions of faithful who welcomed him into their country?
So, especially today, before leaving the capital of Kinshasa, he addressed the bishops of the country. And he obviously was moved by the many stories of violence that he has heard from teenagers from that country, where they just told their unbelievably tragic stories. Pope Francis used actually a very strong example to explain to the bishops what he expects of them. In 1996, in the wake of the terrible genocide in the neighboring country, Rwanda, a foreign militia raided the Congo looking for revenge. And there was one courageous bishop, his name is Archbishop Christophe Munchirwa, and he tried to protect defenseless refugees against this militant group and was shot dead while doing so. Pope Francis called him a courageous voice who defended his people by offering his life. A day before he died, this archbishop urged all groups to forgive each other and protect the lives of all ethnicities. A message that is much needed in the ongoing bloodshed in the eastern part of this country. A message, Tracy, that also needs to be heard in South Sudan, the country Pope Francis traveled to today. There is also a sad tragedy to this country that broke loose from the Muslim north just several years ago, and where now, as we heard, Christians are killing Christians.
Andreas, before I let you go, curious also, what else is on the Pope's schedule for this weekend?
So, like in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Pope Francis will meet representatives of religious life in South Sudan. He will meet the diplomatic corps, and he has an encounter planned with the internally displaced people, refugees from the ongoing violence in this country. On Sunday, he will celebrate a large mass in Juba. And today, Tracy, he briefly met with South Sudan's president. And this was not the first time that they met, because in 2019, they both made headlines when Pope Francis actually kissed the feet of this president. The Holy Father had invited him and his opponent to a meeting and a retreat in the Vatican to guarantee peace in their country. Again, we see a big focus on reconciliation, also for the events here in South Sudan. Pope Francis wants to make clear that there can be no peace, no end to violence, and quite frankly, no future to this country without forgiveness. Tracy?
Andreas, thank you so much for that report. We appreciate it. Great to see you.